Hello and welcome to the HR Like a Boss podcast. I'm your host, John Bernatovicz. I have embarked on a journey to get to know amazingly awesome HR and business professionals with the hope to find out what it takes to do HR like a boss. If you enjoy the show, please make sure that you subscribe and hit that 5-star rating. Welcome again to another episode of the HR Like a Boss podcast. I'm your host, John Bernatovicz. Can't tell you how excited I am to have Brad Harshaw on the show today. Brad, I met through Willery's geographic expansion down into Columbus, and we connected through Haraco, which I know he's super passionate about and is one of the most well-connected HR leaders in the Columbus area. So if you're living in Columbus right now and you don't know Brad, make sure to find him on LinkedIn. That being said, Brad, welcome to the HR Like a Boss podcast.
Great. Thank you, John. I'm excited to be here, and thank you for letting me be here.
Tell me, how would you describe the purpose of human resources?
So, purpose of human resources is you have to be a business-like person, a business-like minded person, because HR really is the business of people. We deal with acquiring talent, developing talent, retaining that talent. It's become a very complex, but it's also become more and more strategic.
How would you suggest people do that are maybe listening that say, I don't have time to get my SHRM certification. I don't know how to manage my career in human resources?
So it's been an interesting journey, and it's been an exciting journey, really, because I actually was certified. I got my first PHR certification back in 1995. And then just over the years of developing and that kind of stuff, continue that along with my adjunct faculty process that I was at Columbus State. I also sat in 2005, 2006 for the SPHR certification. That's when SHRM and HRCI were partners on a lot of different things. And I failed it. I was the first one to fail it. So one of those things that, you as an adult learner, as someone who thrives on education and learning every day, it was initially, it's like, wow, wait a minute. But then you kind of think about that actual certification in human resources. It really is the pinnacle of HR and the knowledge and your practical experience that we've been dealing with on a day in, day out basis. So I had the opportunity, and then, I opened up my own practice as an HRO back in 2005, and life got in the way, and I actually lost my PHR certification because I didn't continue to see ease. That's life. Life happens. Can it be discouraging? Absolutely. What I always tell HR professionals or people who are striving to be HR professionals, even students that we have interaction with, down here, particularly at the Ohio State University, is one of the things that was instilled in me when I was a kid by my grandmother. She had a very limited education. She only had up to an 8th grade education. As she goes, Bradley, and she's one of the few that actually could call me Bradley. She goes, Bradley, she goes, they can take your house, your kids, your car, and all your money away from you, but education is something they can never take away from you. So it's been a goal and a dream of mine, a career goal, not just, the job title goal or requirement or preference, even though a lot of businesses do and companies do look at in an HR professional that you do have that certification. If I had that opportunity come present itself this summer for us for me to sit for the SHRM Senior Certified Professional, which actually I take in December, the actual exam. And I've had many friends, colleagues saying, Brad, you've got 30 years of HR. Why now? It's a career goal. It's a lot of goals that a lot of us have. And it really does put that stamp on you that you really do know. We know our stuff. We know what it is and how it can be done. It can open up doors, but it's also was one of those goals that actually did. You also have to understand that you're going to be an adult learner. We as an adult learner, we learn differently. We have multiple distractions. My best word of advice would be do something little every day. And that's important even as an HR professional. You've got to take some time for yourself every day as well.
So tell me why networking is so important and this idea of gravitating to people that are not like yourself.
So you think about our profession, human resources. We are a resource. We want to become a resource. We need to seek those resources sometimes, because no matter how good as we are as HR professionals, we don't know it all. We don't. There's just not so much that happens within that. So when I actually started my career, I got involved. And one of the best things as an HR professional is get involved in your local SHRM chapter. We're very fortunate to have a very good and strong chapter here in Columbus, the Human Resource Association of Central Ohio. And it's my evolution of my time with them, which I've been a member on and off 20 plus years, is you get people, it can be very intimidating for some people to walk into a room and go, oh my gosh, there's a lot of people. A lot of it has got to do is just go up and say, hi, my name is Brad. I work for, this is what it is. What do you do? And then listen to what you can do. A lot of times what's the background you may benefit them. And then you get connected to them, because when there is a situation that comes up maybe within the workplace or something of that nature, that you can actually go, hey, I don't know much about this, but I do know a little enough about it, but I know John knows a lot about it. Pick up the phone and call him. Hey, John, got a minute? I got to run something by you. Or, no, you know what, Brad, I don't have that, but here's a great contact in order to do that. It's LinkedIn on steroids in a local way. And it's also community oriented. We do so much within the community, and yourself, even as an HR professional, get involved in the community, network, go to those Chamber of Commerce meetings, go and ask them if there's businesses that are thriving and you have the opportunity, call them up and say, hey, can I buy you a cup of coffee and sit down and learn about what they're doing and how they're doing it? Because that's going to make you also as a better professional and better person too.
So if you had to describe someone that does HR like a boss, what words would you use?
Humble, grateful. It's interesting with Thanksgiving on Thursday is when you look at HR like a boss, who's a leader, someone who's listening, but they're also grateful for what they have, for what they're doing. And one of the most important things that we have to be as HR professionals and be that HR like a boss is learn and adapt and listen. And that's the only way we could. A lot of times we mentioned a few minutes ago about be that unlike-minded people. There are going to be disagreements. There's going to be different opinions. There's going to be different strategies. But that HR like a boss, they own it. They also find out and be curious and go, you know what? I need to know more about where John's coming from, or I need to know where Sue's coming from. I want to sit down and talk with them. And that's not HR, that's a boss. That's somebody who's not directing and, divvying out with their authoritative approach. They're actually sitting down, you know what? I'm going to be the boss. I'm going to sit down and actually learn and why.
Brad, you did an incredible job. Thank you so much for being on the HR Like a Boss podcast. I always enjoy our time together.
Absolutely. And thanks for having me.
Thanks for checking out the HR Like a Boss podcast. If it resonates with you, please leave a rating and review, or better yet, subscribe and share with a friend. Until next time, let's continue to aspire to do amazingly awesome HR.